Welcome to Athena After Dark. Hope this evening is doing well for all of you. I wanted to give a shout out to everybody watching and those of you who are going to watch later on. It's greatly appreciated. We're home of the five good things. So when things are rough, stop and think five good things and put that ahead of whatever's bugging you, and it'll help get you through. Positive versus negative usually works. So that's why this is home of the five good things. We have a few small changes that we're going through. Thing one is working out quite nicely. So um, the applications for thing two can stop coming in. We're good for a minute. I think he's got it. We're going to just learn how to read the teleprompter here and I'll be doing all right. Okay, so don't forget Salisbury, North Carolina, September 9th through the 11th at the Rowan County Fairgrounds Smoke Out Rally. Have to be there if you can. It is fantastic fun. It's the 22nd year, and the crew at Cycle Source are putting on all the good stuff. Legacy builders, so many vendors, bike shows, mini bike races. It's going to be a blast. So anybody that was in Sturgis knows that the events are pretty good. So, all right, we're going to start out with our fan five good things tonight because, again, we like the five good things. We'll start out with Penny. Penny just got a job at a local motorcycle shop as a parts trainee, and she's on her way to building her first motorcycle. Well, Penny, that's where it starts. I started at Guy Glover Cycle Works in Pompano Beach, Florida. He had the world's fastest gasoline Sportster for a brief moment in time, and we used to go to the racetrack, but I started selling t-shirts there and then parts, and then I got to stick my nose in the back and go to the racetrack and learned a little to be dangerous. So always find somebody that you know that's a good technician so that you can bounce ideas off of them. If you need some kind of advice, stuff I can help you with, just email me and I'll be more than glad to get back to you. Well, good job on that. Mia. Mia says, today I went for my first solo ride, 122 miles. It was amazing. Good for you. That's awesome. The more you can get out there and the more confidence that you build, you'll be good. Just remember, don't get cocky because that's when you crash. That's a definite. And then you're going to fall down every once in a while. It's like life. You get bumps and bruises, you get back up, God willingly, and just keep moving on. So good for you. Thomas, my dad passed away. Oh, I'm sorry about that. And left me his 1948 Panhead. That is super cool that he absolutely left it to the family. And I'm sure he did it because you'll appreciate it. And if you want to send pictures, send them in a JPEG form so I can get them up on the screen for you. That's awesome. Next is Sydney. I adopted a dog and he came with a hot biker man. It's working out well so far. Okay. There's a little backstory to that. She sent me a whole email about it, and she found this dog running around the neighborhood and she took it in. And about a week later, this guy came looking for his dog, and he was a really good looking biker man. So they hit it off, and I guess now they're both spending time with the dog. Good for you. David, I ran into a friend of yours. He made me a fan of yours just by listening to him talk about you. He said to tell you K-Mark sends love for him and Gangster Bob. That one, when I read it, made me cry because those two people are very influential in who I am today. And one of them's not with us anymore. He's always with us in spirit. And so there's some legendary stories. We'll get into those maybe one day. I think that's not coffee table talk or pajama talk in any regard. All right. So we have the viewer question of the day. Ask Athena. Veronica in Destin, Florida. What do you think the best starter bike for a girl with no motorcycle experience would be? I get this question all the time. I'm probably sure I answered it once or twice, but if you have no experience, go take your test, go to the dealership, take the Motorcycle Safety Foundation course, however you're going to do it. They provide a small motorcycle and you bring all your gear and you do the motorcycle test. Once you do that, then you go out and you go to the Eagle Rider rental or a local rental that has a good review, and you go and you rent different models of motorcycles. If anybody tells you, oh, buy a cheap Sportster, if that's your budget, do it. Put the money into it. Make sure it's safe. If you can handle that, you can handle any bike. But if you're making a long-term investment, make sure that you go and find something that you're comfortable with, that you like to ride, because it'll be with you a while and it costs a nice little chunk. So hopefully that answered your question, and good luck with that. And again, if I can be of any help, you just let me know. Reach out. Athena After Dark at AOL.com. All right, so next we're going to move on to our cultural corner. So this movie, Electroglide in Blue, it's there you go. Thing One's doing it. He's got it going on. Thing One, say hello, Thing One. Can you reach in there? There's a hand. So he's doing good. I'm impressed. Better than I do. So this movie is good because it's about a cop who wants to be a detective, and he gets stuck on the motorcycle squad, and he has to go ride around in the desert in Arizona, which tonight's guest has partial residence in Arizona part of the year, so I guess that was kind of fitting. I didn't plan that. Yeah, so he wants to break out of his rookie status, and he join the homicide department. He catches on a murder case and jumps at the chance to do it, and he ends up around motorcycle people. He likes certain things the way they are. You have to watch it. It's old. It's eclectic. It's a 70s movie. Robert Blake, he was something else back then. He was Beretta. He was a lot of things. Later in life, he didn't turn out to be exactly what he was in the beginning, but whatever does, right? So yeah, if you get a chance to watch it, it's a pretty good movie. It's something. And I know someone that had a motorcycle that looked exactly like that. So it's kind of cool. All right. Next, we're going to get on to our product of the week. Okay, so everyone knows that I promote the products that I like to use. That's something that I like to do here because this is my platform to do what I like. This week, I want to rave about S&S. I like all their products. I'm the girl that had the B model on my shovel head before there was an accelerator pump, so I go way back. George Smith and racing and Guy Glover and all those things. So we just installed a 111 motor in a customer/friend's motorcycle. And wow. Hi, Chris, if you're watching. It was fantastic to see once it was tuned and everything and see how it's riding. And I'm very impressed. I've ridden a couple other bikes with some of their motor packages. The other components that they have, I'm going to actually install an exhaust and try it out. I haven't done that yet. Love the carburetors. So, and when we were at the Cycle Source events, they actually provided some of their clothing for prizes, and that was really cool too because it was quality product. And all their stuff's made in the USA, so that's my thumbs up. We get S&S gets a thumbs up. So, all right, so we're gonna move on. We're gonna go to our community corner. This week it's a little heavy. I've been wanting to put this out there for everybody because these people are extremely important to me and they're part of my family, and something, it's difficult, but it's something I want to make sure everybody participates in because it's very, very important. So Aidens Law, you can find it at www.aidenslaw.org. Aiden was in 2011, Aiden Jack Seeger was a spirited 6-year-old Brooklyn boy who developed vision and concentration problems. His parents thought he just needed glasses. He was misdiagnosed several times, and eventually doctors figured out that Aiden had ALD. It's adrenoleukodystrophy, which is a mysterious and deadly brain disease. His sight went entirely, followed by his ability to walk and talk. And then just 11 months later, after diagnosis, he was gone. The worst part, if his disease had been caught early, he'd still be alive and well today. So Elisa and Bobby Seeger, Aiden's parents, they continue to run their custom motorcycle shop in Brooklyn, New York, which everybody knows, Indian Larry Motorcycles. So they're raising Aiden's baby sister, Sienna. She's gorgeous. They have a beautiful family, but they made it their life's purpose to save American children from ALD. The disease afflicts 1 in 17,000 people, mostly boys and men, silently ravaging their central nervous systems. Results include blindness, deafness, seizures, progressive dementia, leading to permanent paralysis or death. But there's a solution. Newborn screening of ALD. If the disease is caught before the onset of symptoms, it can be treated, in some cases, entirely reversed. Through the Seegers' tireless commitment, and I mean tireless, you'll see events where they have Aiden has a posse. That's a motorcycle ride for Aiden, so go. And you can usually get screened and tested for other things that you can help out with kids. So, but their tireless commitment for the newborn screening of ALD became a law in New York State. They worked that hard and they made it a law. Now they're fighting to pass Aiden's Law, in Senate Bill 2641 and House 4692, which would require ALD screening in all 50 states. The procedure costs less than $2.50 per infant, and the price will go down as it is adopted in more states. There's no excuse not to pass this bill. Screening of ALD requires a single drop of blood taken from a baby's heel at birth, and it costs less than a cup of coffee. So please go to aidenslaw.org, sign the petition, and then find out any other way you can help. If there's an event, a motorcycle ride, support Indian Larry Motorcycles. The family is incredible. They're part of our family, and do everything you can. That's our community corner for this evening. So now we added some stuff. So this is kind of cool. So history happens. Dot Robinson. Okay, that's a picture of Dot Robinson. Everybody knows, if you don't know, I'm a motor maid, and I am fortunate enough to be among a group of women over 1,200 strong in North America. So it's an incredible feeling. I ride with women who have been with Dot Robinson, and then I ride with girls who are just learning about her. So it's pretty neat. So I wanted to do a little bit about her story. She's a founding member of the Motor Maids. Dot was born on April 22nd in 1912 in Australia. Her family moved to America in 1918 when her father wanted to expand the Golding sidecar business. Dot and Earl Robinson were married in 1931. Dot empowered women when efforts to prevent her from competing in endurance runs failed. She competed throughout the 30s, 40s, and 50s. In founding the Motor Maids, Dot set out to unite women riders to show that you could ride a motorcycle and still be a lady. Look at that picture. Like, that was what intrigued me about the Motor Maids, because there's something to that. We all have that little girl inside us, so that wants to be that lady. And I was laughing because I was just, while I was waiting to go, I was reading my Vogue magazine, because all the fashion's in there. You can look. Sometimes you can do it, you know. So there was never a time when you saw Dot without makeup. Away from her motorcycle, she looked ready to step in or out of a fashion magazine. That's the God's honest truth. So Hap was a Honda dealer in Sarasota, Florida, and he used to tell how he chased that woman for 2 days through mud and trees and never caught her. At the end of the race, all the guys tramped into the local bar, but not Dot. She went to her room and got cleaned up first. He said, "I'll never forget. Dot walked into that bar in a black sheath dress and a pillbox hat. Dot was always a lady. Dot set a standard for women motorcyclists. She proved that you can be a lady and still ride motorcycles. She paved the way for women to ride motorcycles. And she proved that you can be a lady, still compete with men, and not be a man hater." Very important here, not be a man hater. Everything is a competition, but if you take gender out of it, everybody has a competitive nature. And everyone's good at something. So Dot was a woman before her time. In 1939, following up on an idea formulated by Linda DeGo, Dot rode all over the United States looking for women who owned and rode their own motorcycles. She found 51 ladies who became the charter member of the Motor Maids of America. Now we're known as the Motor Maids. On October 8th, 1999, we lost Dot. She was 87 years old. This woman was iconic in my world. So when I say to people, there's another little story that I know. Dottie is my sister Motor Maid. That's her granddaughter. And Betty was her mom. And when I tell you, Dot was pregnant with Betty, and Earl brought a car home so she could go to the hospital when it was time to have the baby, because it was wintertime. And he went to work one day, and Dot lit the car on fire and burned it to the ground. And they brought Betty home in a sidecar wrapped in swaddling and hot water bags, the whole 9 yards. So that's no BS. So when I say I idolize that woman, it's definitely, there's no crap about it. She was a badass. She definitely had it going on, and that's part of the history why I'm a Motor Maid. Her and Doris Bird and Gloria Struck and Luann Boger and Peppermint Patty. There's so many. So, all right, we're gonna get on with it. So we're gonna get to know rider, Cannonball, and chase coordinator Jason Sims. I'm not sure if that title is exactly right, but I love this picture. He's out there in the cornfields just riding like a maniac. And then we have another picture that I really like too. And I like the black and white photos. This one, he's got a big giant cheese and grin on his face. Look at that. That's awesome. That is a great. So he's one of the best man van drivers I know. He's also the coordinator that goes above and beyond to carry out a mission started by a good friend, Lonnie Islam Jr., with the motorcycle Cannonball. And he really is just an all-around good guy. He's an MC. He's pretty good hanging all the stuff up for the Weenie Bite contests on vintage days. It was fun having him around. So we're gonna bring him in, Jason Sims. Thing one's gonna find him. There we go. All right. I love old motorcycles. Hello, Jason. You're so funny. I see you there.
And what is going on?
How's your evening?
Oh, dude, you were talking about cheese being cheesy, and I was like, dude, you see all that chip dust on my shirt or what?
Nope. It just looks like regular old lint. You're good. Like you washed it with the towel. It'll hide in there really good. So how are you doing? Everything good?
Oh, everything is good. I'm just trying to stay on track and keep motivated. Lots been happening here since the whole freaking summer. So I'm yeah, some days I don't know if I've gone to bed or just getting up. I don't know.
And they all want to be in the world of motorcycles. That's what's involved for sure. So you just finished up Sturgis at the campground and everything like that. You were on the Chicks on 66 run with us. You drove the man van, you and Jose. And then Eric drove Jenny's man van. So that was awesome. I know you've been busy. You got to scout out your route for the chase coming up.
The Chicks on 66, right? That was a really good experience. People thought I was freaking crazy. I still might be. I don't know.
You are.
To go across the country with 40-some women, I mean, you got to have a little bit of weirdness to you, I guess. I don't know.
You handled it really well. And you got to say.
Really well. I thought, for me, I thought it was going to be a tough time. And, I was going to be helping people more than I was. And, you guys were tough and you handled it like champs. The weather, I thought at first you guys were going to summon me to be your damn bellboy and, park your valet motorcycles and carry your bags. And, it was none of that at all. You guys were tough and you did it all yourself. And basically I really didn't even need to be there.
You were inspirational to a point, like, especially when you need a second opinion on something and just had to have somebody you could trust to go to. It was nice to have you there. That's for sure. And then you guys did pretty good as security. You kept all the wackadoos away. We carry our own wackadoos with us. We don't need extra. So they just got shooed away. It was cool. So, we got stuff coming up for you. You got, the chases coming up, right? That's, Oh, look at, we have some pictures here we're going to put in. There's Barry working on the last chase. And then you do the Cannonball. And there's let's see who else we got. There's Ryan Allen. That's a nice picture. I like that picture. That was a really good one. Let's see what else we got. Oh, this is my favorite Cannonball picture of all time for me was 2010, the Redenzel family. Because Willa and Cassidy actually worked with me the last day on Effie. So that was really good. So the chase is coming up. What are the dates for that?
What's that?
What are the dates for the chase?
So this year, our first official date is September 15th, where we'll be starting in Springfield, Illinois. And 10 days later, we'll land on the pier in Santa Monica.
Wow. That's like deja vu for you.
Oh, yeah. Thinking back of, what we did 3 or 4 weeks ago, a month, 6. Heck, I don't even know. It's all running together. But, it's going to be exciting. Every time I do Route 66 will probably be the 4th time this year that I've been on a majority of it. It never gets old, it's just, I learn something new. I see something new, and the experience of it is nothing like anything that anybody can, experience.
The food, some of the food that we came across was really, really good. You're a foodie. I know you like good food. So
I'm always searching out for the best next place to eat or to catch a little cream pie or muffin, bakery, hot dog stand, ice cream.
Yeah, I'm down. Supports the locals. That's also good too.
Absolutely.
And we do have some people watching. Douglas Walker. They said, "Hi, Nancy Keener," and then Dazzlin. She is saying hello. Hello, Jason. Hello, Athena. So that's cool. All right. So the Cannonball. Next year you have the Cannonball, and that's I want to give everybody a little bit of history. They can find it at motorcyclecannonball.com. But Cannonball Baker, can you tell us a little bit about him? Like I have some stuff here. I know he did that in the 30s, I think it was, or the
Actually,
20s.
Paul Baker started back in the teens.
Oh,
He was a famous racer. He was commissioned by a lot of different companies
yeah,
to
there's
sell their products. He was very famous for setting world records, on racetracks, doing transcontinental trips. And he did all this stuff from like the teens all the way up to the 60s. He was instrumental in starting NASCAR. The guy is just an inspiration to any type of racer growing up, and just what he did. I mean, traveling back in 1914 across the country in 11 days.
right. And he was definitely something that people should look back on and get some of the history, which is where the vintage love comes from, especially for those of us in our era. We there was a point in time when I started out on motorcycles, I was like, yeah, no, that stuff's way too old. But I grew an appreciation for a total loss oil system. That's like a whole thing that a lot of people don't understand. No push rod tubes and covers, and your I was looking for the throw out bearing, and Dale Waxler was like, it's right in front of you. I'm like, I don't see it because it was this big, not this big. I was like, okay. So you guys have a program that you do. Um, it's the love of old motorcycles.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's something that I think everybody needs to know about too, because I'll let you talk about it. We'll take the picture off, and you can tell everybody what exactly that is.
Yeah. So this is something that we've really just taken officially here in the last year. It was officially started by a guy named Alex Trepanier and Chris Tribby. It was an idea of donating a motorcycle for an event because this person couldn't go on the event. So he came up with the idea to donate his motorcycle. From there, it turned into raising money. The very first time that we did it last year, we ended up sending 3 riders on the program to do the little mini chase that we did.
We have a
was
picture of that.
hugely successful. So this year I came on board a little bit more with it. We got a little bit professional on it, started an organization that we're calling Love of Motorcycles. And, our goal was to, one, put another young next generation rider on the event. We had right away 2 bikes donated to us. We set out to try to raise some money to pay for expenses to get these kids there, teach them, mentor them. And in the process, we ended up raising enough money to send 4 next generation riders on this year's chase. We had, 4 motorcycles donated, enough money to pay for their hotel expenses, their expenses to get there, and everything that they need on a ride. So,
And I have a picture of 3 from last year. I think these are the 3 riders there from last year. And that's an amazing thing that everybody's doing as a collaboration and people coming together, because that's something that truly will go away if we don't continue to show them what it's all about and teach them the appreciation for what it took to get to where they are in motorcycles today. There's nothing with having old and new, but you got to be able to appreciate it. So
yeah. And that's why we programmed together was, to pass on the knowledge that a lot of us have to the next generation. We don't want to see our stuff go to the wayside like a lot of the old brass era and antique cars have gone. The Model T worlds, that's diminishing. And, really we want to keep, what we've been collecting and obsessing over years now of getting the next generation into that. And, what better way than to, put a younger rider on an old bike going across the country on Route 66. Doesn't get any more American than that.
It doesn't. And it's cool because now you'll start to see them they'll start getting in on the swap meets, the Wasion, the Davenports, and whatever's going on, and they will definitely get into that, and that'll keep it going. And my son is 32, my oldest son is 32, and he's starting to understand what the history is of all of it. You know, he grew up Easy Riders magazine on the table, whatever. So it was a little different, the 80s and the 90s. But when you start to get into it, it is super cool. Right. All right, so I want to talk about the Cannonball a little bit. I have a couple pictures here. It's very serious. People think, oh, yeah, I could get on my motorcycle and do it. There's a lot to it. When just saying, too, if you can't get there on a day and you have to be in the van, you have to sign a book, from what I understand, in Jason's book, and nobody wants to sign the book. So, but you take safety as a precaution. I have a picture here of Miss Vicky with her accident scene management class, I believe, that she gives right before. And then the roll charts. This is something that you can do them yourself, or you can have people do them for you. Yeah, we want roll chart. There you go. That's a roll chart. Good thing, Thing One. I'm going to get him a shirt. He's graduating. I'm going to get him a shirt that says Thing One. I'm going to keep him, I'm pretty sure. That's pretty neat. He works for food so far, so I'm doing good. Yeah, so yeah, the roll charts, that's the directions for the day, correct?
Right. Yeah. So every morning on each one of the events, whether it be the Cannonball or the cross country chase, we provide the riders with a set of instructions 30 minutes prior to their class start time. And, you know, basically it's just turn by turn directions. You know, to successfully navigate the course, you have to have a very accurate odometer, you know, because we're only telling these people, you know, when you leave this particular spot, go 1.1 miles, take a right, proceed 3.6 miles, take a left, proceed for 20 miles, you know. So it's basically the biggest part of this challenge is the navigation portion of it, and staying on top of it and paying attention to where you're at and to your mileages and your speeds.
That's neato. And they're allowed some modification from some of these pictures, like this one here on his Excelsior. He's got a nice gas extra fuel cell.
Right.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. You know, we are on some of the best 2-lane roads of America. And when you're on those roads, gas stations can be a little bit far and few between. You know, there's been instances that we've gone 120, 130 miles in between gas stations. So part of the challenge also is for riders to figure out, you know, gas consumption and how they're going to make it in between those stops that are kind of that long. So they come up with creative solutions to carry gas with them in different types of containers and all that. So
yeah, there's strategy involved. A lot of people don't think about that, but yeah, you have to be strategic and plan yourself out so that you can get to the end.
You know, a lot of people think, they're just jumping on an old bike and, you know, doing 50 miles an hour across the country. Well, it's not really like that. You know, there's a lot of prep way ahead of time. I mean, sometimes it takes these guys 2 to 4 years to even build a bike that can
go
make it one day on this event. You know, I mean, these back in the day weren't used to going 250, 300 miles a day. You know, they were just doing short little jumps, 5 miles here, 5 miles there. You know, there was no roads back in the day. So they're only used to doing 20 to 35 miles an hour. And, you know, and now these people are pushing these machines. And, you know, it's like we say, it's our adage, it's man versus machine. And, you know, some of the hardest 2-lane black roads of America.
Yeah, that's no lie. And people think that it's a lot of bullshit. But once you do it, you have a true found respect for what you're doing. In those women, when we traveled, their resolve and just their fortitude of getting up and going every day and facing it and getting through it and enjoying each other and enjoying all of it, the whole experience. But it was not easy. It wouldn't matter if you're a man or a woman. It's definitely a test. It is a test of.
It definitely is. I mean, we got people on the events that are, you know, I think the youngest that we've had has been 18. And I think last year was our oldest rider at 82 years old, you know, and it's just all in between. And, you know, sometimes it's very physically demanding on these people, physically, mentally. You know, it really is a true challenge. I mean, these guys, you really got to be nuts to do something like this. take an arcade machine that's 100 years old, that the metal could give away at any time, or the pieces could give up the ghosts, and and now they're out there in the middle of nowhere, broke down, trying to figure out how to fix this thing. And it's nothing that they did, it's just the stuff's old and it breaks.
Yeah, and then there's elements, because you do have things around you, spiders, snakes, the weather, whatever it is. So, and you have to take that challenge every day because it doesn't stop. You just continue on.
Right.
So
one of the challenges now it gets worse and worse every year is, dealing with fellow man and modern traffic and texting while driving and road rage. And, that's all elements that lead into this challenge of, what we go through.
yeah, and it's kind of crazy, but once you do that, that's something, you take that challenge, you have a newfound respect for yourself when you're driving in the car or you're picking up the phone or whatever. It's way easier to wait but you see too how far things have come, because they went 35, 40 miles an hour and they traveled the country like that. It's kind of like when you're out in the desert and you're crossing, I don't know about everybody else, but for me, we would ride through some of the most beautiful scenic places. And I think to myself, they went across in covered wagons. They dropped dead from the blistering heat that we're riding through. Like, that's some crazy, crazy stuff. And then we went from wooden wheels to, steam engine. The first, the Daimler had wooden wheels and it was a steam engine motorcycle. That was like the beginning of it all. So
right.
It's just evolved since then. So if you actually could stop and learn a little bit about the history and move forward, which that's why I think what you're doing with the younger people, and I think that's phenomenal. And I'm anyone who can help promote that, I will definitely be in on that. So we have questions. Questions tonight for you. You get the questions. So, all right, we're going to start with the first question. Dogs or cats?
That's an obvious answer there. You shouldn't even ask that question. Dogs.
Dogs, right. Okay. Apples or oranges?
I'm an orange dude. I love my vitamin C.
Okay. Hotel or camping?
That's kind of tricky.
Don't you fucking say that.
Hi, Miss Leanne. I hear.
She heard that. Honestly, I used to love to camp. I used to love to be outdoors. But I enjoy them freaking hot showers in the morning and all that kind of stuff. So.
Athena, he's will not take me camping.
I'll go camping with you.
Become a little lately,
he won't take me. He's
Don won't fish. Don doesn't like to fish, so we'll go camping and fishing together. Just come down. I got a little spot in a park where we kind of hang out, so there's no wildlife to get us.
Actually, I really do love the outdoors. I do love camping. It's just the convenience of having a hot breakfast because I gotta eat.
Yes.
And hot shower because I gotta keep my hair looking good.
Yes. And there's nothing wrong with a mattress, a real mattress, like just a little firm for the hard work all day, because it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. So, fast or faster?
Really none of these apply to me. Since I started riding old bikes, 15, 20 years ago, I just don't even know what the meaning of that is anymore. I like to go slower.
You're so bad. So you got that chopper. You won that chopper.
But I'll ride it like your damn grandma.
Oh, no wheelies, huh?
No, dude. I was getting into just getting into the old bikes and finally slowing down. I was into custom bikes and choppers and building fast bikes, and it just seemed like everywhere I went, it was 90, 100 miles an hour, and all you see is the highway, and that's all you see. But now that I've got time to slow down and I'm riding one of these old bikes, I actually take in everything that I'm seeing around me, and I actually enjoy it a lot more.
That is the best answer, because that's really what it is. When we had that bike on the Chicks on 66, It told me one day, it was like, you're low on fuel. Would you like me to find a fuel stop for you? I never touched any of the buttons. I turned it all off because we get on the motorcycles to slow down and get away from all that and enjoy. And like you said, the scenery and all the things, you slow down a little bit. That's an awesome answer. That's perfect. Okay,
Well,
so
I've noticed it with a lot of people that there's a lot of people that have the need for speed, and and I know that because I used to be there myself. It was like I said, if I wasn't going 100, I wasn't going fast enough,
yeah,
and I even see this even on some of the old bike rides and that. So, part of the chase, which I'm sure we'll talk about, is one of the things I got to do to slow them down was I incorporated them guys taking a test every day. And that was to slow them down, look at the surroundings, because we're really going on some of the most historic roads in America. We're going through some of the coolest historic towns. I mean, that's why we want to take you there. I mean, we want you to learn this stuff, see it, witness the history. And, if you're out there burning down the roads, you don't get to necessarily notice that,
right. You miss it.
You miss it.
You miss it like you blink. Okay, so sunshine or moonshine?
So I'm a guy that chases sunsets, and I ride that sunset through the night to see the sunshine in the morning.
Okay, that's an interesting answer, and there's a good giggle back there too. I like that. All right, so how long have you been riding?
Party till the sun comes up. So
Yeah,
but
I
now
know. You're getting older. We're aging like fine wine. That's how that works. So how long have you been riding?
So I've been riding since I was probably 4 or 5 years old, somewhere in that age range. I don't remember exactly, but it was right in there somewhere.
Okay. What's your favorite rides? What's your favorite motorcycle and your favorite route?
Ah,
So,
motorcycle is really tough. I've got a few that I like. I won't say how many I like, but really my favorite motorcycle is whatever I'm riding that day.
good answer.
I switch it up. I'm really into flatheads right now, like the 30s flatheads. I like the teens and 20s stuff. It just really kind of depends on my mood for that day. As far as where to go for rides, I don't know. I'm really digging the Ozark stuff right now. I think that whole Arkansas, Missouri area is just really kind of an untapped, undiscovered beauty that a lot of people, especially in the motorcycle,
Yes.
just don't really know about of the rides that place has to offer.
Well, hopefully they see this and they'll actually peek into it because it is beautiful country. That is something that's untapped. I have to agree. I'm sure you'll figure out a ride through there on one
Yeah,
of your.
or just for the last 30 years. So, everybody's like, oh, the Needles Highway, Black Hills. I ride that stuff every day. It's good, but to get out and do other things, like I said, the Ozarks are killer. Being down here in Arizona now, a lot of these roads, there's some really great roads down here. Really anywhere. I mean,
Just riding.
yeah.
That's it. Okay, so what's your absolute favorite song?
My favorite song right now, that's a tough one because I'm so like music eclectic. Like one day I'm listening to country, the next jazz. I listen to death metal. I don't listen to it much polka, but I don't really know. I don't really have a favorite song. I like all music.
You like all music? Okay, I'm like that. I like
Yeah,
sometimes I get in the mood. I like classical.
quite a bit lately, and that's a song that was written by one of our fellow Cannonball guys, Pat Simmons. He wrote a song called Cannonball.
Yes.
So I've been listening to that more often than not. And other than that, I put on iTunes and I hit shuffle. And like I said, you never know how many you're going to get some fucking Puff Daddy or Garth Brooks or what's going to come out of my playlist.
That's cool. That keeps it interesting.
Yeah.
So I like that. That's definitely good. So who is your childhood hero and why?
Um, I don't. That's a tough one for me. I don't remember much of my childhood. The stuff that I do remember, I'd probably have to say it was my grandfather. I don't really have a father figure in my life. And he kind of stepped up in that role, and he's the one that got me into motorcycling. And, so I would probably say that he would be my childhood hero.
That's awesome. Grandpas are the best.
Yeah.
Who is your motorcycle hero and why?
I guess that'd have to be the same exact answer. One of my only memories from childhood that I remember is, um, my grandfather and us being on the back of a motorcycle and him taking me around. I don't remember much from school. I don't remember, many of my friends from back then, but I do remember those days of, that motorcycle and him buying me a motorcycle, him teaching me how to ride a motorcycle. And that's the things I remember. Other than that, I just don't remember much of my childhood.
But that's good. You had somebody who influenced you, and they can be both because sometimes, you know, people miss out on that. And I'm
Right.
sure he probably turned you on to music and motorcycles, and that's probably why you are the absolute like all of what you are with the old motorcycles and taking time and things like that. Because our generation are the last ones to pass that on, and some of the kids are skipping out on it. So
Right.
it's super good. So okay, what's your favorite road food?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Because I'm always out searching for the next
Uh huh.
best thing. I'm looking for the little diners. I'm looking for the little mom and pa's. You know, getting at a gas station to get invited to somebody's house for a home cooked meal. Um, some of the stuff I've been really searching for lately are like little fried fruit pies. I don't remember the
Oh,
exact of them, but they are freaking bomb. They're like little strawberry filled fruit pie with them are pretty good. I do like stuff like that. Of course, I love any bakery stuff. Um, Coffee, I love coffee. Um, and then for like meal, I love the home cooked deep south. Best thing I found last year was a fried pork chop sandwich
oh
with a
yeah.
bone in it still on two pieces of white bread with a big ass thing of Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid. That's
Oh,
real down south. Oh
real
yeah.
Kool-Aid. Ain't this shit you get nowadays. This was real
Right.
Kool-Aid, like 10 pounds
Homemade.
and
We make it here. Same thing. Grape
yeah,
Kool-Aid. Oh yeah. I love the grape
that was
Kool-Aid.
the meal I had last year. It was so freaking good. And you know what? It cost like $3.99.
Yes. We were at a place called Mom's Kitchen when we left Dothan, Alabama. We were coming home, and it was a little town that had a baseball field, a convenience store, the gas station, and Mom's Kitchen. And we stopped in there, and the place was full. There was no cell phones. Nobody was on their phone. The TV was playing, but nothing like no, it was like music or whatever. And we had big pork chop dinners, and they were like $8 a piece, and you couldn't eat it all. There was so much on the plate. That place was the bomb. So I love those diners.
Real places with real prices. There's just
Mhm.
other like I absolutely and just getting to know me over the chicks ride that I do not do franchise restaurants.
No.
I just can't stand them. Every once in a while, if I got a hangover or something, yeah, I'll go to McDonald's and get a frickin' cheeseburger or
Right.
egg McMuffin or whatever, to help me out. But other than that, it's
It's that. Okay, so we have the next question, which is what are your two most cherished motorcycle memories? Nobody can ever pick one, so two is good.
I actually got two that really stand out to me. One was the very first ride that I ever did, when I was 5 or 6 years old. My grandfather had bought me a motorcycle. It was a Honda XL80. I remember we went somewhere and he had it hidden behind a tree or something like that. rolls it out and is like, "Oh, this is for you." And I was like, "Oh." I mean, it's something that I've been wanting. It was a little bit more of an intermediate bike, not like the little Z50s most people start on at that age. And, full hand clutch, shifting. And, I remember him saying, here you go. It's time to get on. And I remember getting on, him showing me just the hand clutch of it for just a few minutes, the concept of shifting. I'd always been paying attention, but until you actually really got to do it for your first time. And I remember him sitting on the back with me. I take off with the clutch, the throttle at the same time. It was like perfect for the very first time. And he jumps off within 5 seconds. And I didn't quit riding until I ran out of gas.
Oh, that's so cool. That's a good one.
Never want to stop. It was like, it was a natural at doing it. And, and after that, I burned a lot of tanks of gas.
That's good. What's your other motorcycle memory?
I think the most other memorable one, which is a trip that, probably will be tough to beat in my lifetime. It was just a couple of years ago in 2019, myself and 4 other guys all shipped our 1942 WLA motorcycles over to Europe, shipped them into England. We rode down through England, ferried over into France. We landed in Normandy on the 75th anniversary D-Day, took part in all the 75th anniversary celebrations. And then once that ended, we spent the next 30 days riding through Europe on old military motorcycles, going from Belgium, Holland, France, Poland, and just doing kind of a World War II tour. We had no set schedule, no set plans. It was one of those things that every day, we would see where we were at, and at like 3:00 every day, oh, we better find a place to stay. And, and then that night turned into the next best day of going to this museum or seeing this site, and going on some of the best roads in Europe. We never did 1 mile of any like Autobahn or interstate. It was all 1 lane, 2 lane roads, sometimes no lane roads.
That's cool.
Unbelievable. And the guys that we went with, I went with Doug Walkie, which, Round the World Doug, with Kelly Modlin from Kansas, Scott Bird from Arkansas, and Greg Manders, and they were just great group of guys, man. And the symbolism of being over there for the 75th anniversary, a D-Day, this was one of the last D-Day celebrations that the veterans were still alive and they were there. All the surviving veterans were shipped over there. They were being bussed around, and they were treated like A-list celebrities. I mean, it was really humbling and chilling to see the locals, the way that they treated all these American veterans over there. It was like they loved America more than probably what America loves America right now. And even thinking about it now, I'm getting goosebumps and chills, and just seeing and witnessing, what those veterans went through, and the way that they were treated is, I think about it every day, like the experience, but then I think about what ride can actually top that. And it's like, I don't know.
That's amazing. And I watched that on the news because, again, my grandfather and my great grandfather, my dad, my uncles, they were all service members. So, and I know you were too. Thank you for your service. But to see something like that is, like you said, it gives you goosebumps. But everybody knows, like, especially here, I make sure that the products I support, they're American made. It matters to me. I don't drive a Toyota, not that there's anything wrong with it, but for me, with my history, where I come from, my grandfather would have his foot up my ass about that, so there's some of that to it. But what they gave and what they sacrificed and what their families, and all actually veterans, and no matter what time you served, there's things that you can't explain to the rest of the world. They don't get it. They weren't there. They've never served, and they can appreciate all they want, but like my favorite thing to do, like when we go to Sturgis, I didn't get to do it this year, but like when we used to go with the bikes in the trailer, I would always take like 4 or 5 bikes over to the Veterans Hospital and then invite some of the guys to come out and sit on the
Right.
motorcycles. I love that because if you just stay quiet, sit back and listen to them start telling each other the stories about when they were in the service or when they started riding, it's amazing. And it'll chill you to the bone. But that's awesome that you got to see because yeah, the veterans, they're that was the last hurrah for them. And for them to be shipped over there like that was super cool. I think the
And
world of that.
yeah, and it's, it's instilled me. I mean, even with the events, we try to do the same thing. It's like, I want to go to the local veterans homes and bring all the bikes in and let them see it, and just get their stories. I love going there. I love doing Veterans Day parades. Just kind of giving back a little bit. I did a Veterans Day parade down here in Phoenix. I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of people were there, and veterans lined up on both sides of the street, and going out there, in a World War II military bike, and seeing the reactions of those guys, and like, wow, and stopping at each one of them and shaking their hands. I mean, nothing better than that.
It's incredible. And if you ever want to do anything, you need someone to help coordinate or do anything like that, I'm in for any of that stuff always. So you can count on me for that for sure. And okay, so if money didn't matter and you could take a road trip on your motorcycle anywhere, where would that be and with who?
So the road trip, of course, I'm gonna take my wife Leanne with me.
Of course. Good answer.
And it's something I've got in my mind, and it's something that will eventually come to fruition. But yeah, I want to do like a 50-state tour with her, all 2-lane back roads, all vintage little teeny towns, and I want to document it. I want to do video content and interviews with a lot of these small little towns, little shop owners, and just kind of document the history of why they
awesome
and all that, and document some of the best roads, and someday when I got some money, it'll happen. I'll just put my little old lady in a sidecar, and maybe by then we'll have like a little chihuahua or something, and we'll just hit the road and just go to all these little towns, try to find the best little food, talk to these little 80-90-year-old little ladies and old dudes, and and just document them before it gets lost.
Yeah, and then everybody can see some of the history again, that thing that we're trying to preserve for future generations to come. So
Right.
Okay, next you get to tell us something good about yourself that others might not know.
Ooh, damn. That's a good question. I should have read up on this so I could have.
Well, now it's off the cuff, so you better come up with something good. Is the wife is writing it down now?
No, you know what? I actually had all my sheets here for homework. I just never read them. I don't know. Let's go to the next one.
Okay. So we'll come back to that one. Okay. So then you get to give me your 5 good things. Tell me 5 good things for right now.
5 good things. Of course, I gotta, thank my wife Leanne for standing by me, following me along in this crazy journey of everything that I do with the events and ideas that I get and businesses I want to start and, crazy things I want to do. Obviously she's a rock and held us together, and, I'm super, super grateful for her. Number 2, got to thank my man, Jesus Christ, for inventing all the rest of this cool shit, motorcycles, gasoline to put in the motorcycles. Of course, that 50 weight oil, gotta freaking give it up to him for putting that shit in the ground.
And whoever invented WD-40, that guy, I want to shake his hand, right?
We used a lot of it. So, number 4, of course, my kids, they're getting to be coming to their own now. And I gotta, the public, the riders who take part of the event, to make it the success that it is. I look up to those guys a lot, and a lot of those guys are my mentors. They consider me a mentor or an influencer, and it's far from that. It's totally opposite. These guys are an influence and mentors to me. So, and without them, there is no Cannonball, there is no Chase, there's none of the other events that we do or help out with.
Oh, and the reason that everybody is inspirational to one another is because of the great passion that you all share for the
Right.
love of motorcycles and for the love of old motorcycles. So that's true. So we're going back to the other one. You got to tell us something good about yourself that others might not know. It could be the littlest thing, like, like, you bring dog food to the local shelter once in a great while or some good stuff like that.
I do a lot of stuff like that. We're very giving. We try to give back as much as possible. We believe in karma. Just trying to do good things and be good by people. And I think a lot of people already know that about us. Probably one of the things they don't know is how good of a dancer I am.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Like, I don't do much of it lately, because my knees are getting shot and, I just don't move as good. But I tell you what, I could used to cut a rug like no other.
I love it. Does Miss Leanne dance?
Oh, yeah. Not as
Yeah.
good.
That's awesome.
I did that. Let's throw one more in there. I do like, no, I can't tell you that.
Just leave us hanging. Thanks a lot. We needed that.
I can't tell you that one either. Nope, can't say that one either.
Oh, well, I see how this goes. It's okay. We'll squeak them out of you eventually. But that's awesome. I'm so glad that you were here with us tonight. So you passed the finish line. Oh, we have the good photo here. Yay, hooray from the Cannonball. Hooray, there's you at the finish line. Okay. And I can't thank you enough for being here. I greatly appreciate it. Thanks for the moral support, Miss Leanne. Appreciate you. And thanks for helping us spread the word. And everybody, make sure that you go ahead and you check out the Motorcycle Cannonball. And the Chase is coming up. Also, what else do you want to tell everybody about the Chase and the Cannonball? Because
yeah. So let's do Cannonball real quick, because that'll be quick and easy. Next year is pre-1933 motorcycles. It'll be the month of September. We're going to go from Virginia Beach, Virginia to Huntington Beach, California, around 4,000 miles or so on that. To check out more on that, we'll be starting to release some information probably more in October on that after we're done with this event. But that's motorcyclecannonball.com. Now, the one that's coming up here in just a couple weeks, the motorcycle chase or the cross country chase. Of course, we're doing Route 66. We're starting in Springfield, Illinois on September 15th. And 10 days later, we'll land on the pier in Santa Monica, California, and we'll see who's victorious. So the chase is a competition. We'll have 100 motorcycles on this event that are 1930 to 1960. What kind of sets this race a little bit different than the Cannonball is we don't allow trucks and trailers, no support crews, no wives unless they can ride with you. Really, it's just about you and your motorcycle and the 2-lane roads of America. The true challenge of getting across. It's a competition. We actually give away prize money on this one. We're testing you on speed, maintaining certain speeds throughout the day. Of course, you got to do that navigation like we talked about earlier with the scroll maps. Endurance, just making sure you and your motorcycle get across the finish line every day and get to the start the next day. And of course is the knowledge, where every day we're giving these riders a 12 to 15 quiz on American motorcycle history and history on the route that we're at, the route that we've been on, in the cities that we're visiting. So makes them pay attention, makes them learn more about American motorcycle history, and gets them involved.
that is fantastic. I'm so excited about all of that. So everybody, make sure you check it out.
We have so much content coming for this one. So we're releasing riders every day. So you can see us on Instagram and Facebook. We're announcing, all the riders every day. We still got about 30 more to announce. We've got videos coming up. And then, of course, when we're on on the road, we're going to be having live broadcasts every day with shows. We'll be sharing video content. We're going to throw so much American history and motorcycling and fun and food and experiences. You're going to wish you were there.
We're going to follow you. I'm going to make sure that we keep an eye on all of that right here too. So thank you again. Much love and much good times. Everything good. Mwah. Love you, Miss Leanne. I hope you guys have a great evening. Thanks for being here with us, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right. See ya.
All right, kiddo.
Bye.
All right. So how awesomely cool was that? Jason Sims and Miss Leanne. So I met her in Arizona along with Jason's mom. So I'm blessed. I am so lucky to be around so many amazing people. And he's super cool. Jose, his sidekick, he's super cool too. All right. So I'm going to give you my 5 good things tonight. Tonight for me, it's the love of my beautiful family. It reminds me that I've done some things right in this life. My Uncle Larry is number 2. He turned 89 last week. He has COVID. I'm hoping he's going to be okay. And, well, all the extra prayers can't hurt. I appreciate it. Number 3, my insight to the good things. I'm watching movies with my bean. So my grandson is 4, and I turned on Encanto. And boy, howdy, do things look differently. Sometimes it takes just a little spark of imagination and a little reminder that everyone has a gift. You just can't always see it. So that's pretty cool. And then number 4, my strength. Strength means the world to me, even when I'm unsure if I can carry the load. Somehow it just shows up. So I'm grateful for that. And then, of course, 5 is being right here, right now, doing this little show with you guys. Then the afterthought. Yay! That means we're coming to a close. This one's a little quirky tonight. So bear with me. You either get it or you don't. If you don't, I won't be so around about next time. So my afterthought, lost and found. The topic for the evening, afterthought. What the term means. So lost and found is a place to find what you've lost, right? That seems pretty simple. Okay. But did you know that principle applies to so much in life? I've recently realized the odds of finding anything that is lost are slim to none, no matter what the scenario it is. Looking at it all, so many things get lost, right? Effort is required to find anything, and even more so if it's lost. A bit confusing, right? Isn't it? I think so. Well, it's up to you to determine how much time and effort you'll put into finding things, determining its worth versus the effort required to find it. Some things are worth more than others realize, so the decision is up to you and you alone. Make sure you take your time deciding. Some things that are lost are right in front of you. So, yeah, that's that. Remember, smile big with your heart, not for any one person or any group of people. Just do it for you and be kind to yourself and others. It matters. Everybody, please participate in 5 good things and ask Athena at Athena After Dark at AOL. And you can follow us on Facebook, and we're working on the Instagram. So YouTube, LinkedIn, YouTube, if you subscribe to the channel after we get to 100, we get our own custom title. So that's pretty cool too. And then we're grateful over here for Thing One. He's doing an awesome job. Yay! Yeah. Okay. So thank you all very much. I appreciate it. And we will look forward to seeing you next week, 10 o'clock, Monday night. Have a good one and have fun.